Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Today, we're diving into a battle that rages silently within each of us. A conflict that plays out thousands of times every minute, often without us even knowing it. We're talking about the common cold, that universal misery, that familiar sniffle and sneeze. What if I told you the true story of the common cold isn't about the virus itself, but about an invisible, high-stakes war happening in the most unexpected of places, your nose. For decades, we've blamed the virus. The rhinovirus, specifically, the most common culprit behind our runny noses and sore throats. It's a tiny, unassuming invader, yet incredibly effective. But recent groundbreaking research is shifting our understanding, revealing that our chances of getting sick and how badly aren't primarily decided by the strength of the virus, but by something far more personal: how fast your nose fights back. Let's set the scene. Imagine, if you will, a single, microscopic rhinovirus particle. It's a marvel of minimalist design, essentially a tiny package of genetic material wrapped in protein. This microscopic entity is floating in the air, perhaps carried on a sneeze, a cough, or lingering on a doorknob. And then, it happens. You take a breath. This tiny invader has just entered the grand, intricate, and surprisingly hostile landscape of your nasal passages. This isn't just an empty cavern. It's a living, breathing fortress, lined with specialized cells. There's a sticky, protective layer of mucus, constantly being produced, designed to trap foreign particles like flypaper. And beneath that mucus, a forest of tiny, hair-like structures called cilia. These cilia are in constant motion, beating rhythmically, like miniature oars, pushing that mucus and anything trapped within it towards the back of your throat, where it's swallowed and neutralized by stomach acid. It's a brilliant, continuous cleaning system, our body's first line of defense. But the rhinovirus is cunning. It's evolved to navigate this environment. It latches onto specific receptors on the surface of your nasal cells, like a tiny key finding its lock. Once inside a cell, its mission is simple: hijack the cell's machinery to make more copies of itself. This is where the battle truly begins, at the cellular level, and with astonishing speed. The cells lining your nose immediately recognize the intrusion. They don't just sit idly by. They spring into action, activating a sophisticated array of antiviral defenses designed to limit the virus and stop it from spreading. But how do we know this? How can scientists peer into the human nasal lining and observe this microscopic warfare in real time? For a long time, studying rhinoviruses was incredibly challenging. The common cold virus is unique in that it primarily causes illness in humans, not in laboratory animals like mice, which are often used in viral research. This limitation meant that understanding the early stages of infection, the precise moments when the body's defenses are first engaged, was incredibly difficult. This is where Dr. Ellen Foxman and her team at Yale School of Medicine made a critical breakthrough described in their study published in Cell Press Blue. They needed a model that could accurately mimic human nasal tissue, something that behaved like a real nose, but could be observed under laboratory conditions. And they built one. Imagine taking human nasal stem cells. These are generic cells with the potential to become many different cell types, and nurturing them in a dish for 4 weeks. But here's the clever part. They exposed the upper surface of this growing tissue to air. This wasn't just a random step. It was a crucial environmental cue. In the human body, the lining of our nasal passages and lungs are exposed to air. By mimicking this natural environment, the researchers encouraged the stem cells to mature into a structure that remarkably resembled the intricate lining of our airways. The resulting tissue wasn't just a simple layer of cells. It contained multiple cell types found in a real human airway, including those crucial mucus-producing cells. Yes, those tiny, beating cilia. Dr. Foxman emphasizes how vital this model is, stating, "This model reflects the responses of the human body much more accurately than the conventional cell lines used for virology research. Organotypic models of human tissues are particularly valuable for studying this virus." This incredible lab-grown mini-nose allowed them to do something unprecedented: monitor how thousands of individual cells respond together during an infection. They could introduce the rhinovirus and watch, literally, what happened next. What they observed was nothing short of astonishing. The moment the nasal cells detected the rhinovirus, they didn't just fight individually, they coordinated a sophisticated, rapid response defense system. The key players in this early protection are proteins called interferons. Think of interferons as the body's alarm system. It's cellular, Paul Revere. When a cell detects the presence of a virus, it doesn't just try to fight off the infection itself. It immediately releases these interferons. These proteins then travel to nearby healthy cells, acting as a warning signal. They essentially tell their neighbors, "A virus is here. Prepare for attack. Lock your defenses." This rapid communication is incredibly effective. The interferons activate antiviral defenses, not only in the already infected cells, but also in those nearby healthy cells, making it incredibly difficult for the virus to reproduce and spread. It's a preemptive strike, a widespread cellular mobilization. If this interferon activity begins quickly enough, the infection can be contained early, sometimes even before you feel a single symptom. Your body has won the war before it even started a full-scale battle. The researchers demonstrated this by deliberately blocking this interferon response in their lab-grown tissues. The results were stark. Without the interferon alarm, the virus spread rapidly, infecting many more cells and causing significant damage. In some cases, the infected organoids, the lab-grown mini-noses, did not survive. Dr. Bao Wang, the first author of the study, highlighted this critical finding. Our experiments show how critical and effective a rapid interferon response is in controlling rhinovirus infection, even without any cells of the immune system present. Think about that for a moment. This entire complex defense system, this invisible war, is happening with astonishing effectiveness before our specialized immune cells, like T cells and B cells, even arrive on the scene. It's the first wave of defense. It's surprisingly potent. But what happens when this initial defense isn't fast enough? What happens when the virus manages to replicate and gain a foothold? This study also uncovered a darker side to the body's response, one that explains why we feel so utterly miserable when a cold takes hold. When viral replication increases significantly, the rhinovirus can activate a separate sensing system within our cells. This triggers an entirely different, and often harmful, cascade of events. Both infected and uninfected cells begin to produce large amounts of mucus, far more than necessary for simple defense, and release a flood of inflammatory signals. This excessive reaction is the source of many of our most familiar cold symptoms. That congested, runny nose? Thick, uncomfortable mucus? That scratchy, inflamed throat? It's often not the virus directly causing the discomfort, but our own body's overzealous attempts to fight it off. This inflammatory response, while intended to clear out the invaders, can contribute to airway inflammation and breathing difficulties, especially concerning for individuals with conditions like asthma. It's like setting off a bomb to kill a mouse. The collateral damage is significant. This realization is profound because it shifts our focus. Instead of solely trying to eradicate the virus, a notoriously difficult task given the rhinovirus's many strains, we can now consider targeting these defense mechanisms. What if we could develop treatments that calm the body's overreaction while still supporting those vital early antiviral defenses? This opens exciting new avenues for therapies aimed at reducing harmful symptoms, making our colds less severe, and perhaps even shortening their duration. Of course, no scientific model is perfect, and this incredible lab-grown nose has its limitations. The team acknowledges that their organoid model includes fewer cell types than are present in a full human body. In a real infection, additional cells, particularly immune cells, our body's specialized forces like macrophage, neutrophils, and lymphocytes are drawn to the site to help fight the virus. These are the heavy artillery that arrive after the initial interferon alarm has sounded. Understanding how these additional cell types and other environmental factors in our nasal passages and airways influence the body's overall response to rhinovirus will be an important focus of future research. It's an ongoing journey of discovery, building layer upon layer of knowledge, but the core message from Dr. Foxman and her team remains clear, and it's a paradigm-shifting idea. Our study advances the paradigm that the body's responses to a virus, rather than the properties inherent to the virus itself, are hugely important in determining whether or not a virus will cause illness and how severe the illness will be. This means that the next time you feel that familiar tickle in your throat, that first sign of a cold, remember the invisible war happening inside you. It's not just the virus calling the shots. It's your body, your cells, launching a rapid and sophisticated defense. The speed and effectiveness of your nasal cells, their ability to sound the alarm with interferons, might just be the most crucial factor in whether you simply shrug off that viral encounter or find yourself battling a full-blown cold. The future of cold treatment might not be about killing the virus, but about boosting your body's own incredible, innate ability to fight back. It's about empowering your nose to win the invisible war.